Hello, we're going to look into Utthita Trikonasana and Parivrtta Trikonasana. So that's triangle pose and a twisting triangle pose. This is the pose that comes in the Ashtanga yoga right after Surya Namaskara, A5 rounds, Surya Namaskara, B5 rounds, Parangustasana and Parahastasana. And then we move into Utthita Trikonasana and Parivrtta Trikonasana. So from the top of the mat, Samastiti. You're gonna step or jump to your right. Now, the distance in Utthita Trikonasana triangle pose, comparing to the regular vinyasa classes, often in those vinyasa classes, the distance is a little too wide. In Ashtanga yoga, it's a little bit shorter, so 2 to 3 feet apart, but that again depends on your body type. For example, for me, if you're really, really tall, this is definitely too short. This is definitely too wide. So find the middle. Now, let's move into it. Front Tadasana, top of the mat. You're gonna jump to your right. Or again, if you have any issue, just simply step to the right. A little bit wider distance between your feet, but again, not too wide. From here, you're gonna turn the right leg out from the hip socket. Now, often what happens, we just turn the foot in, the knee's still buckling in. So make sure that when you rotate, you're initiating the rotation in the hip joint. So you're rotating the entire upper leg out. Now, your calf is pushing and moving forward towards the shin. Your quad is pushing and resisting back towards the hamstrings. So you find neutral in the leg work. Often, if you're very flexible, a dancer background, you'll end up jamming into the back of your knee because you are relying on your flexibility. So hyperextension. If you do feel any deep sensations in the back of your knee, that's no bueno. Use the block. Comes very handy if you push it like this and resist the shin into it. So you actually can hyperextend rather from here, really work on engaging the quad and lifting it up. So use the block if you feel any deep sensations in the back of your knee. For majority of the population, people are on the tighter end than really on the hyper bendy end. So if you're bendy, use the block. If not, if you're very tight down, just really resist the leg back. Notice how often the weight just dumps onto the outer edge of the foot. I want you to focus on pressing the mound of the big toe down into the earth and draw that base in towards the inner heel. So here, scoop it in, lift that arch. Spread your toes, plant them down, engage the quad, lift leg up, maintain an external rotation in here. And once you have that going, from here, we're gonna start to move down. So often what I do teach, lengthening through the right side of the waist, because often when we just go down, this is what happens. The right side is completely compromised and the left one is overstretching. In yoga, everything is about balance. So think about lengthening both sides of the waist. So it does help sometimes if we lengthen a little bit forward, but then notice, don't overdo it to the extent where the hip is poking out to the side. Keep having the outer left hip in towards the midline. You don't want to keep the hip square. It's okay when you get an external rotation. The outer left hip will roll a little bit towards the front, and that's perfectly fine. Do not push it on trying to keep it squared. It shouldn't actually, because the moment you slide the left heel back, this outer left hip will move a little bit to the front. Just make sure that you're not doing this. Rather, from a neutral position, you're going to go straight down. Or if you notice that you're compromising on this area, lengthen it a little bit and then go down. You're gonna place the hand onto the shin. Again, if you can get to the ground, or ideally to the big toe, which is in the Ashtanga yoga, place your hand on the block. Place it for all I care on 3, 4, 5 blocks. It doesn't matter. And this is where I'm gonna add a little bit of a tip. It's very important to use props. Often in the Ashtanga yoga, props are not introduced. But I'm an Ashtanga teacher with a very, very big and deep love for Iyengar and the alignment because it is truly important. It's very important if you want to heal your body. It's how we're doing things rather than adding more stress into some joints. Because repetitive stress injury, it's the reason doing something over and over again why people end up with a lot of injuries and then they blame Ashtanga. It's not Ashtanga, it's not the practice, it's the state of mind and how we're approaching it. So again, use the props. You don't want to start to rely on them too much, but you do want to add them to your practice till you create space, till your body opens up. Give it time. Nothing happens overnight, okay? So give it a little bit of time. Use the props. Let the body open up. It opens up layer by layer, and then slowly challenge yourself by getting rid of the props or the elevation. So if you need to, use as many blocks so you can lengthen and open. So let's say I'm a tight body. And if somebody says grab the big toe, a lot of people do it on their discos. The knee bends, they're grabbing the toe, the whole body's collapsing forward. Now just look at my body. where the fuck is the energy moving? What is happening in here? This is doing more harm to the body than good. So I say, don't do this. Elevate the hand, open the chest, revolve, let the energy travel freely throughout the body. That's the goal. It's not the goal to grab the big toe. If the back is rounded, if the leg is not even getting a stretch, if you're dying in here, like that's not Trikonasana. So make sure you use the block, elevate, so you can really open and revolve, creating space. And come up, we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. Slide the right foot in, slide the left leg out from the hip socket. Again, don't let the hip go too far. Hug the outer right hip in towards the midline. Arms are open to the side. Engage the front leg. And then from here, lengthen a little bit forward and start to bring the hand onto the shin. If you can collect the big toe or just stay here. Or again, whoop. Use the block and you're gonna give it 5 deep inhales and exhales. And then we're gonna come up and we're gonna turn around again to the first side. Now, as we move to the twisting Parivrtta Trikonasana, for many, I highly suggest. Now, if you look at my body, I'm built a little bit like a dude. Flat, no hips. For any regular beautiful female, you have a little bit of curves. In that case, you want to step your feet a little bit wider because having heel to heel alignment for me is very easy, 0 hips. For any other body type, you want to give yourself a little bit more space so you can actually square your hips and to get into the correct alignment. So, for Parivrtta Trikonasana, I always suggest, as you square the hips, for me, heel to heel alignment, that's traditionally and how it's taught, but it doesn't work for everyone, okay? So for me, it's very easy to bring heel to heel alignment with my 0 hips, no hips. But in general, I highly suggest, which makes it so much easier to square the hips, take the right leg a little bit to the right, and then you can really square the hips right now. From here, you're gonna come halfway down, lengthening through both sides of the waist. I highly suggest if you're doing it for the first time, use a block. You can keep it on the inside for today. You're gonna come halfway down, release your left hand onto the block, and you're gonna open the right hand up and to the side. Now again, notice my hips off, and this is what happens. The weight shifts into that front leg. Keep it neutral. So keep the pelvis neutral. And what often comes handy, if you put the block, so you can actually really keep it neutral and it doesn't spill. And then twist in the upper back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're gonna come all the way up and turn around for the other side. Since we did modify the feet on the first variation, we're gonna do the same thing right now. Square the hips to the left. Take your right leg a little bit to the right or the left to the left so you have a little bit more space between your feet. Square the hips, come halfway down. Release the right hand on the inside if it's your first time. Again, if this is easy, feel free to go for the full variation, a little more challenge. Take the hand on the outside of your left foot. Left hand will reach up and out towards the sky for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly come all the way up. And again, step or jump to the front. Samastiti. So, the drishti, I'm going to now do the full Utthita Trikonasana and Parivrtta Trikonasana, the full pose, holding my big toe and adding the drishti. The drishti in Utthita Trikonasana and Parivrtta Trikonasana is Ashtanga drishti towards your hand. So let's start from Samastiti and move into Utthita Trikonasana and Parivrtta Trikonasana with the breath and the count. So from Samastiti, you're gonna step or jump to your right. Inhale, open the right leg out from the hip socket. Yeah, come inhale. Dve as you exhale, fold forward, collect the big toe, place the hand onto the block or the shin, whatever works, and the gaze is up towards your palm for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Trini, inhale as you come all the way up. Turn the Trikonasana to the other side. Chatvari, exhale. Fold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pancha, inhale, come all the way up. Turn around for Parivrtta Trikonasana. Adjust your feet if you need to. Square the hips. Slowly come down. Dve, exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, one. Trini, inhale, come all the way up. Chatvari, exhale, as we move it to the left side, neutral sacrum. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pancha, inhale, come all the way up. Step or jump to the front of the mat, Samasthi. And that's basically Utthita Trikonasana and Parivrtta Trikonasana. Thank you.